Today, I'm going to show you to paint some stars, some galaxies, and some nebulas. Yo dog, Candy Bichet here, Next Level Painting, hitting you up on the literal best of all days. On this glorious Friday in the Beats Lab in Hollywood, California, I got another tutorial for you. Today we're doing something we've literally never done before. I'm going to show you guys how to paint a cool nebula star pattern on a banner. It's going to be so easy, you're literally not going to believe how easy this is. This is going to be a classic case of technique over skill. This is all technique. This is what I preach all day, every day. It doesn't take very much skill to actually paint miniatures. Now, I'm not talking about crystal brush, golden demons. Like, that is obviously a skill. I'm talking about getting your armies to look beautiful, getting them on the tabletop, to visualize, conceptualize, and execute an idea. That's what these tutorials are all about. I want to shout out Twitch just real quick, twitch.tv next_level_painting. It is our live tutorial channel. It is basically live TV on the internet. You're not going to want to miss it. We give shit away constantly. Free raffles, top donator giveaways, digital currency to gain rewards from our online rewards page. So much going on. Check the links in the description. Go to the actual Twitch page, follow it. I'm telling you, it's a game changer. I want to shout out a couple of clutch individuals, my most recent patrons of the week. I got my man Jonathan, 40K Frog, Maurizio, Chris, Hans, Andy, and Jesse. Thank you guys. I can't do it without you. Patreon is my personal crowdfunding page. It's how I keep the lights on. And don't forget, thelongwar.net. It is the home of the battle reports and the fastest growing library and video content today. You're not going to want to miss out on everything going on over there. Let's get this video started. All right, let's do this thing, guys. We have a cool little Spite Revenant from the Sylvaneth Tree Person's Army, all painted up to be a spirit. All right, you can see we're obviously going to have to jump on this banner, though. So step one, let's grab some white. This is an airbrush ready white. Thin it down with all the normal protocol, all the gangster gumbos. You can see those on any of my other videos. What we are basically doing is a quick little pre-shade. We're focusing on the center of the banner. You can see there's three-dimensional leaves and designs in there. We're just painting all over. It doesn't matter. We'll come back and cut that in. And I'm basically just trying to make a smoky pattern. I'm not really thinking about it. The only thing I know for sure is that I want the center to be a little bit brighter than everything else. So you can see I'm kind of focusing on that right now, and I'm just kind of throwing some swirls around it. No rhyme, no reason. Very subtle. And then I'm going to let it dry. I'm going to do it again. I want there to be a nice contrasted white in there. When you pre-shade, a lot of the times people forget how important it is to have a righteous, perfect white in there. Because if you don't, it's not going to really show the color through that you're trying to, lay over the pre-shade. So you got to create that contrast, which is like white over black, literally most amount of contrast possible. So I'm just basically blowing some pure air on it in some steps. I'm letting it dry, coming back in, because paint is transparent. It will mute down as it dries. So a couple of layers, you can see, look how much more white it is now. After we let it dry for a second, hit it with a second coat. Now it's very bright. It's definitely irradiating from the center. It's definitely glowing. This is going to be instrumental, pivotal in creating the effect that we're going for. And this is very simple. We're not doing anything that is very difficult. None of this is advanced. I will give this on a 1 to 10 scale of difficulty. I will give this a solid 5. Not very difficult. So same deal. Just let it dry. Keep reestablishing. Keep the tip clean. That's one of the biggest tips I can give you when working with white. Get the white nice and thin, and keep a toothbrush handy to keep scrubbing the tip down. We let it dry for a few minutes, and we came back in, and we're doing white one more time. You see, I'm not happy. It wasn't bright enough. There wasn't enough contrast. Gave it a solid 5. Came back in there, kept the tip clean, did what we do. All right, Arcane Blue. This is an OG paint. This is one of the old schoolers. Arcane Blue, P3. All day, every day. Thin this motherfucker down to almost water. There's barely any paint in here. It's almost all flow improver and water. And we're going to come on very thin. Super thin. Almost all air. 99% air trigger work. And we're just going to let it dry over this white, and we're going to let that white snap that arcane blue into a transition with the black, creating ultimate contrast. Now, we're not concerning ourselves with repainting the banner. We're actually primarily just focusing on the areas that we painted white. And then we're kind of just letting our hand guide us, like our vision of like the nebula. We're not actually undoing everything here. We're just making it creative, making it cool. All right, let's grab some royal purple. This is a game color. We're going to thin this down. There's a lot of pigment in this purple. So you got to thin it down. And now we're just kind of contouring the arcane blues. Like I said, I don't really have a plan here. I looked at a couple of pictures of some nebulas, and I saw that there was pinks, purples, and blues. And that's basically what I've decided to do here. So we're just adding the purples and maybe the areas that are black to transform the darker areas into purple so they're not just black. Now we're going to grab magenta. And I'm going to start building magenta into it because I'm trying to capture all those colors. I just did a Google search, saw a nebula I liked, and I'm emulating it. But I would approach almost any nebula color the same way with this pre-shade technique. So we're bringing this very watered down magenta in toward the white pre-shade areas over the purple. And you see there, we're getting a nice, cool transition. It's very galaxy, very, psychedelic, Now we're going to grab some squid pink. This is pivotal. This is definitely the turning point of starting to create some real luminescence. Now everything that's still like pre-shaded white, we're going to focus that pink on them so that they start glowing with this pink, vibrancy. Really going to be set off by the fact that we're going over magenta with this, and everything's so thinned down that you can see all the pre-shaded white still poking through. This is exactly what we're going through. Now we're just, like I said, we're just enhancing those white regions because you can assume that those white regions, we're going to focus on putting some stars in there. Looking good so far. Feeling confident, feeling strong. Always keep the tip clean. I can't say that enough times here. I have a toothbrush handy. I dip it in some cleaner, scrub that nozzle down because when paint starts drying on the needle, it's going to disrupt the flow and it's going to speckle and spiderweb. You do not want that to happen. That is literally the difference between like bad airbrushing and good airbrushing. So it's looking good. That banner's smooth. We got a nice backdrop, nice galaxy pattern. We let some of that pink dry so it mutes itself down, and then we're coming in for a second pass because we want that pink to be more vibrant. So basically, sometimes you just blow air on it from the airbrush, no paint. Help dry it up, and then add a little bit of paint, then a little bit of air. Just keep going. It's an ancient Chinese technique right there. Okay, feeling good about this. We've got it framed in. Now, it's time to get gangster. Here it is. Freehand, white, detail brush. Just throw some dots on there. End of freehand tutorial. We're basically just randomizing some dots in the areas that are glowing more so that it looks like the haze of the stars is creating a little bit of an object source light around them. It's important to have a good detail brush here. Drop a couple of dots. They can be different sizes. They can be different transparencies. It can be more watered. I'm going with a little bit heavier pigment here because I'm going to use this other ancient Chinese technique where I'm going to mute the stars back down. Because you can paint these stars in just like this, and then you can take the airbrush, go right over the stars with that same pink, watered down, just one final blast to mute them down. So there's almost nothing you can do here that you can't undo by going back to the pink if you didn't want to. So you see, we've got some pretty heavy stars. We're drawing a quick cross over this one to create that lens flare. Just a nice subtle little cross. We'll do it on another star, couple. This really does combo off. Like I said, you can do that. You can do as many stars as you want. You can go back to the pink and just haze them out. It's an OG technique of using your paintbrush with your airbrush. They are tools. They can combo off of each other all day, every day. So here it is. Here's that pink. Now we're just going to haze out some of those stars with that very watered down pink. Now take a look at that. Now it's creating layers, three-dimensionality. Some of the stars are closer. Some of the stars are farther away. This is what I love about airbrushing. So, obviously we have a whole banner here still. Now you can crack out on this as hard as you want. You can go back and forth, back and forth. You can draw new stars over the stars so that there's total three-dimensionality. Then you can go nuts, This is enough for me though. I feel good about this being a banner. Now we got to cut it in. And so we'll talk briefly on color theory on like why I chose these colors. So I chose the purples and the pinks and the blues because they're awesome, right? That's mainly why they spoke to me. So, as I'm, cutting these stars in, making them look their best, I'm also letting my brain think about what I want to see next. I'm looking at the model, seeing how other combos are popping off with each other. I'm letting my brain just kind of like soak in the colors. What do I want from this banner? Do I want more contrast? Do I want more, do I want to be framed in more? Do I want it to glow even more? And that's basically the kind of questions I ask myself, but I don't spend a lot of time on them. I go with my heart. So I've decided that we're going to repeat the rust colors. These are the two colors we used to paint all the leaves and the fabrics. And so we're just comboing off. These are Secret Weapon miniature acrylics. And so we're basically just establish a quick base coat with the rust, the orange rust, over everything. We're going to frame everything in, and we're almost going to do a ghetto non-metal metallic gold. But it's not really this is all autumn colors that have been repeated on the model many times. So obviously purple is a complement to yellow, but we're not using pure yellow here. We're not using pure purple. It's enough that there's enough of a contrast and a complement to make me happy. So now we've established that the fact that this is a yellowed up orangey brown. Now it's time to take the rusty yellow and start blending into it. And we're not going to just re-blend everything. We're going to start focusing on the sharpest angles of this banner. That's simple, real quick. That's my process. So now here's that yellow rust, blend it in. Don't overthink it. Just focus on the cuts. You don't want to undo everything. You want there to be somewhat of and the reason I'm doing a ghetto non-metal metallic is because the style of the non-metal metallic contrast of like cutting in abrupt angles and abrupt edge highlights really will be set off by the fact that we have like a glowy translucent background, that I feel like that would be awesome to have like the fabric be shiny, like it's taking on the glow, I wanted to go crazy. And what's cool is that we're just using the same autumn tones that I use on these models. So here it is. Now we're just, re-intensifying those yellows, just focusing on just the extreme edges. This is that pure rust yellow. It's not mixed with the orange anymore. It's looking real good. Very simple. And here it is. That's just rust yellow, rust orange. But I want to pop it off one more time. So we're going to grab a GW yellow, Uriel yellow, I think is how you say that. I don't know. And we're going to take that and we're going to do one final extreme highlight in all the little edges and make it look its absolute shiniest, its absolute best. And this is, like I said, sort of a ghetto non-metallic gold. It's ghetto because it's not on anything that's supposed to be metallic. And we didn't take the contrast to a dark side. We just built brighter and brighter and brighter. And that makes me happy. The same thing with the gems. We're going to go to an ancient secret weapon technique, tire black. We painted all the gems in, or these little settings, paint them in with tire black. Then we're going to use Arcane Blue again so we can tie it back in to the star pattern. And we're going to mix that Arcane Blue up a little bit with the tire black. We're going to create a nice, cool highlight, and we're just going to, run that highlight around these jeweled settings all day, every day, making them interesting, and then you can just add white to the mix or more Arcane Blue to the mix, and you can bring that highlight up as far as you want, cut it back in. These are the final details of painting anything that really do help set it off. If you can see, our background looks great. Now we have a common link with our background, Arcane Blue, on the settings in the foreground. In the framework of the banner, we have repeated a color that we've used on the model many times, which helps tie it in, create a complement, while maintaining a contrast, because it happens to be a complementary color. And the hue and the shade of this yellow is enough different than the background that it absolutely frames it in, which is what we were going for. All day, every day, guys. Thanks for checking out this video. We got many more coming up. Don't miss the Twitch stream. Anyway, play on, please. If you like these tutorials, check out Next Level Painting on Patreon. Become a patron of the arts today. We offer early and exclusive access to our videos and a rewards program for different pledge levels. Patreon is PayPal and credit card secure, so you don't have to worry about that. We use 100% of the money to improve our process.